my complete best self. So I am going to redo, and we're going to just talk about the week of the star, right? So we just finished our first day of the star, where Mary challenged us to approach the world with childlike enthusiasm. And that's a really beautiful way to look at the world, obviously, always. But I think that, too, especially after the day I had, and if you watched the stream right before this, you know that it wasn't a good one. That sometimes we create for ourselves this like toxic positivity, like, oh, look at it, the way a child would, the kids are always so happy and bright and bubbly and curious and whatnot, and that's true, totally. But also, kids are just honest, right? So they are just honest when it's hurting, or they are just honest when they're not feeling the vibrations or the energy. They're like, you know what? I don't want to be here. I'm going to go into the other room. Kids don't care. Kids are there to see the world for what it is. So, with that, I want to bring us into our nighttime routine. The first thing that we do for our nighttime routine is we take a moment to just relax. We just reflect on our day. All we do is think about the day, and as the thoughts come up from what happened, we let them flow. We let them go, which honestly, you can kind of see really good my mental process of that sort of happening in the last video, where I was thinking about a lot of things, but I think that I was trying too much to focus on this instead of just think about it, let it pass. So let's take a moment to do that real quick. We might have some friends coming in here. Oh, it's Ryan. He's brought food for us. Hey, babe. So, Daisy's so excited. So, I sit. I think about my good morning. I think about the hard afternoon. Thinking about that really beautiful interview with Claire and getting to see my roommate live again for a little bit. I think about how gentle and kind and understanding Mary was with me today. I'm thinking about the moments that I was able to connect more deeply on an emotional level with some of my family members over Byron, because we didn't always take moments to be thankful and talk about how much we loved Byron, because he was always being an awful naughty dog. But today we all got to take a moment and acknowledge together how much he meant to us. So I'm thinking about all of those things. Thinking about my boyfriend who said, hey, you know what? Why don't we just stay here for an extra day, after seeing how it was with my family and how much I needed that. I'm just thinking about all these great things that happened today. All right, so now we introduce some movement. Today, again, this is sort of what I was trying to do earlier. I'm leaving the one up from before this because it's such a beautiful, awful, honest mess, and I don't care that whatever, that is how it is, and that's going to be how it is. We're about being real here. We don't care. You know, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I've covered up a giant stack of papers on the other side of that chair there. So I am being a little bit fake, but that's just because I don't want you to be distracted by my background right now. But thank you, Son, for letting me borrow your mat. So I'm just going to do some movement. This is movement that reminds me of Byron. I'm going to do some downward dog, and I'm going to kick my feet afterwards, because he was always digging things and making messes and getting out and causing trouble, because he was full of energy in life, and that's what you do when you're full of energy of life. You cause trouble. So. I look goofy, don't I? I'm opening up my chest because, like I said in the last stream, my chest is tight and it has hurt so much today because it felt a lot today. What about you? When you do those moments, did you have an amazing day? Did you have a super cool day that you're like, Ellery, we're totally not matching each other's energy because my day was great. I literally won the lottery today. That's awesome. When you kick like this, maybe you feel a different energy with that than I did. When you open up your chest, maybe it's just with like an insane amount of like positive gratitude. Whereas mine is a really mellow, humble gratitude for today. That's okay, wherever it is. So what have we done so far? We've reflected. We've taken a moment to address the emotions and the buildup of the day in our body. I think maybe we should just kind of make it a standard practice to stand up and do like a full body thing. I'm just gonna wiggle. And then since I already gave you the one thing I learned, the one thing I did well, and the one thing that I wish I'd done better in the last video, I'll skip that. But just ask that you do take a moment to reflect on the one thing you learned. Actually, I'm going to say that again. If you ever need to put down, and I hate if you ever have to, if you ever have to say goodbye to your furry friend and they have to be medically helped, transported into the next life, and their energy has to be moved some way using a vet. Literally all of this is an awful way to say, if you have to euthanize your dog, if you have to put your dog down. I wish there was a nicer way to say that. I don't know, I'll come up with something, but that you can bring treats with you, and there's actually a lot of really good resources from vet techs online. There's a bunch of different little things that you can do that might make it a more comfortable transition for your very sweet furry family member. So with that, we say a quick night prayer. We say thank you so much for this day. Help us remember and wake up tomorrow with the lessons that we're taking from today. And with that, have a lovely evening, friends.